Okay, I call to order the Board of Assessors meeting at 9:35. I have to say, this is a public meeting being audio recorded for cable broadcast and internet posting on the Dayton.mass/mass.gov and YouTube channels. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay,
Okay.
everybody's here.
Full attendance. Yay.
Full attendance. Yay.
Okay, so, old business status of 2440 Chestnut. So I was on vacation last week. The lawyer did not get back to me still after, I asked what was happening. It was supposed to get back to me.
This is the Hershey's.
Yeah.
By the way, okay.
Yeah, so this is, my brain's fried. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. So I didn't hear back. So I sent another email to the person that sent it off to the lawyer or whatever's looking at it,
Mhm.
asking what the status was. So I don't know yet. They were supposed to get back to me like a week and a half ago, but I was on vacation last week. So there was nothing that came in from the lawyer, but they said, we'll get you back to you this week, which was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, as
So I
long as
really
you're
don't-
not holding anything up.
Yeah, I will. So status of record request for Dayton Electric District. That's Nancy.
Okay, so, on July 26th, Lisa, Tatro and I met with the commissioners. Asked them what they wanted. We went through telephone poll. I said, no. First of all, I explained the whole thing about who owns, who puts them in and who pulls them out and that whole thing. It was, I assume that law is in here.
Yes.
All right. So Lisa had a copy of Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 32, which states that personal property records are not public records. Okay, so what they're asking for are personal property records.
Okay.
So when the law was cited, they understood. So that was that. So there's a letter here for us to sign indicating that the meeting took place. This was discussed and we believe the matter has been resolved.
So may I ask, I think when we had discussed this in the past, I was personally confused as to, it's personal property, but it's a public entity. Does that not matter? Is that what
Not
you're saying?
according to that law.
So basically, all of our personal property records, regardless of who it's for, are private.
Yeah, everything, I don't know what, under the law, I don't know what would be exempt if there were.
Oh, that's
such
nice and clean.
exemption.
I like
Yeah.
that.
So anyhow, they were amenable. I'm going to prepare the letter. Then I got in touch with Tina and said, I can't send the letter to you. It has to go to the town clerk because this was part
That's where
of
the records request come
public
from.
records
Correct.
request.
Yep.
So I'm just telling you what the letter's going to say. The other thing we did to help them was, I explained to them and told them to get in touch with, I sent the info to Tina, get in touch with Charlotte Diogo at the MMA Energy Rep to see if they are getting that extra penny discount per kilowatt hour that the town gets. If not, find out how to do it. I would think that because the town was able to get it, hopefully they'll extend that to the light district.
Right.
But so they were happy. Like I say, most of it was explaining, what you're asking for. This is how it worked. And it was more of an informational thing. But so I prepared this letter and Stephanie and Lisa have looked at it, said, okay, works for us. So I brought it here today. And I'm going to make a motion that we sign the letter addressed to Shara Cost, the town clerk, to respond to the public records request from Dayton Electric Lake.
I will second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
I'd like to have the letter read.
Okay, super.
August 9th, 2023, Ms. Shara Costa, Town Clerk, 979 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. 02715. Dear Ms. Costa, regarding SPR 23/0937. That's the record number that the state listed on this thing because they appealed to the state. The Board of Assessors requested and were granted an extension of time in order to respond to the request from the Dayton Electric Light District Commissioners for what they considered to be public records. On Wednesday, July 26, 2023, Nancy Goulart and Lisa Tatro, representing the Board of Assessors, met with the commissioners at a special meeting held in the Old Town Hall. Ms. Tatro referenced MGL Chapter 59, Section 32, which states that personal property records are not public records. A copy of the cited statute is enclosed for your information. The commissioners accepted the reason for the denial. We believe this matter is now closed. Should you need further information, please feel free to contact our office. Thank you. And it's signed by the three of us, and we'll attach that law to it.
You want to see?
Oh, here you go. Oh, the other thing that was suggested they do, because they wanted the records because they were concerned that the utility company may not know all the poles with all the lights. And I said to them, don't you have an inventory of your lights? I would reverse the thing and say, here's our inventory.
Compared to, yeah,
Would you compare this to your records? Because that way you're not asking for their records.
right.
And so they were going to look into that too.
Yeah, I think we received an email and we've gone back, Lisa's gone back and forth with I think one of the commissioners, Bob. Is that someone from it? Bob?
I know that Ron Smith, who was a
Yes, he
former
was the one.
commissioner, he was the one that knew about the overlay from years ago, the overlay on the
Maybe it was Ron.
software.
I thought it was.
So
Did you sign that?
yeah, it's all signed. Is this the whole thing?
Yeah, I was
What
asking.
are we doing?
Bill.
Voting? Call for a vote. Call for a vote. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't because it was discussion. She read that.
Yes.
I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Bill.
I personally would like to get into the correct rhythm of motion, seconds, discussion, vote.
Yeah,
What we do tends to be discussion.
sometimes we discuss it a little bit. Yeah, that's fine.
And then we go motion, second.
Motion,
vote.
second, second. So I have a question before we go to new
Everybody
business.
does
though.
that too.
Um,
I noticed that.
I don't know if this is old business or not, but we had talked about one connection of that money that came in. Remember that? They have a
Yes.
revenue share. That is general fund, can be used for anything the town feels necessary to be
Right,
used for.
and-
I clarified that. with you.
And it is not like Lenny has said at a
Pilot.
public meeting, it's not a pilot agreement.
It's not right.
It's
So
not.
it's
It's-
just to clarify that.
It's just related to that industry and the agreement they had with the town and
So
all.
we
that other stuff.
decided at the town's discretion to use it for whatever they felt needed. It's not like for playgrounds or police or whatever.
Right,
The other thing is, I don't know if you know this, but the Cannabis Control Commission is trying to dictate what all municipalities can use that money for.
yeah, there's been a
coming
lot
down
of
the road.
that.
There's a lot of that. So that should be problematic. That should be a red flag. That's problematic. They should not be dictating to towns and cities what that money can be used for and can't be used for. That's somebody in an ivory tower telling a local town what they can and can't do.
My personal feeling is if there are going to be directives coming out on how you spend money, it's got to go through DOR because they're the.
I don't think it should be held up there
Whatever.
at all. I think each town, each city should decide what that money should be used for, period. I don't think it should be
So-
decided at the state.
What I'm saying to you is DOI is the one who makes the rules. It's okay to spend, can we spend money on this? And if it's a unique situation, they look into it and give you a yes or no. All I'm saying is since DOI revenue, they're responsible for all the revenue.
Right.
And that agency, the pot committee.
Yeah.
Would have to deal with the DOI,
Right.
all right?
I just wanted to kind of make everybody aware of that because that's problematic for me.
Before all of this passed and before they started, after the law passed and they were trying to set regulations to be able to sell cannabis, Brett and I attended a hearing down at the UMass School of Law. And there was a lot of discussion and a lot of what was said, Brett and I looked at one another and like shook our head and said, they're gonna be kidding, all right? Now, obviously, things have moved on and all this other stuff has been done and we now have businesses, but in those initial stages, we had concerns about some of the discussion as far as what they were talking about. And the person leading the meeting was a representative from this commission.
Yeah.
It's like,
Self-serving.
but anyhow,
Anyway. Okay, new business,
Okay, no invoices.
no invoices.
One motor vehicle. 2023 motor vehicle abatement.
Motion that we sign the motor vehicle abatement in the amount of $1,492.36.
second,
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Unreal.
All those in favor?
Hold on.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No.
No, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the next thing would be, I went through and grabbed every third week. This is what it would look like.
Thank you.
Nancy already, I gave one to Nancy already, so it's the same thing. So I don't know if this works for everyone. I'm sure November, December is gonna be, we'll have the tax rate, we'll have other things in there, but just as we set this. And Leanne put us down for all of these, so they're all available on the calendar.
Okay.
That's all. I don't know.
Make corrections if we need to as we move.
Wants to go over it and, take it home, go over vacations or whatever your plan and.
No, this works for me. My only vacation is not between the 9th and 30th. So
that should just be attached to the file copy of the letter on the,
that I'm giving her.
that's going to, time clerk.
Super.
You want me to drop this off to her, right? When I go back?
Yeah, after you make
Make a
copies,
copy,
yeah,
yeah.
whatever.
Okay, I brought the calendar if anyone needed to,
Take a look at it.
get
Okay.
alternate date for stuff. So we think we're good or we want to
I'm good with it.
It's fine with me.
go?
Fine to me. Yeah,
Okay, so I guess we'll just
we'll go with it for
go
now.
with the schedule.
Course correct if we have to.
Do you have to vote on it or it's just good?
No.
Yeah. No votes. Okay, so next thing is Nancy with personal property tax for solar projects.
Okay, I brought this up at the department head meeting. I've continually brought it up. And I'm not feeling comfortable that the whole situation is, yeah, we agree with you, but no one's doing anything. And in the meantime, money's being expended. Most communities that have solar farms designate where the money should go, not spending it initially, but putting it into special accounts, whether it's capital stabilization or stabilization, or you're going to build a building, the XYZ building fund, but put it somewhere where it will not be used for operational expenses on a yearly basis, that it is set aside in a special account. And in order to spend it, just like the capital stabilization accounts, you have to go back to town meeting and get permission to do it. Everyone agrees this is what should happen, because if you take that money that's coming in for personal property from solar farms and you put it into general receipts, you turn around and spend it.
Mhm.
The problem is, after a certain time period, whether it's 15 or 20 years, that money's gone. In the meantime, your tax levy has continued to do this. Well, if you get up here, because you've been dependent on this money, and it's not coming in anymore, this is your tax levy. That falls to the taxpayers.
Mhm.
All right, so the concern is not to use it for operational expenses, to put it into special accounts for appropriation, when the time comes. And that obviously your real estate taxes and stuff, those are your regular tax incomes. So I brought it up at the department head meeting because there was nothing on the special town meeting warrant. And I asked that, can we get something done maybe for the fall meeting? So Lenny's response was, well, who's going to do this? I said, I don't mind getting up at town meeting. No, who's going to write the warrant article? I said, I'll get in touch with Rehoboth because I know they've done it. So I have reached out to them. I need some sample wording because I had a conversation with Skip Vadney from their board of selectmen. I think it was at an Aggie graduation. and we were talking about solar farms, and he was telling me that the town voted years ago to set the money aside. That's how they were able to buy Francis Farm
Mhm.
and that building that they removed from Dartmouth for their police station, that office building for the new town hall, whatever. But they've been able to put this money away. Now, the other interesting thing, Rehoboth's, at least the sample I saw, solar agreement, all the payments are the same for the life of the project. We front end load ours, which means we have that higher money coming in at the beginning. So think about the tax levy. So now you got, if you're mixing it in and you're spending it, it's going to go up.
Correct.
And then it's going to reach a point and it's going to start doing this. The levy is up
And yeah,
here.
you keep,
Okay,
exactly.
so this is an area that I do think we have authority over, and I do believe the Department of Revenue sets all the rules as to what counts towards the levy and not what isn't.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's within us, our power or bylaws power to decide whether that pilot money is counted towards the total tax levy or not.
You can do it by bylaw. The Department of Revenue recommends you do not use those kinds of money for operational expenses because
Right.
you in
But
It's
effect,
setting
But
future
does
taxpayers up for
DOR
failure.
rules allow you to exclude the pilot money?
you can
Yes.
set it aside. Yes,
Yes.
Rehoboth is one. of the
Rehoboth's
towns
doing it
that does
already.
Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying about putting it in a separate account. I'm saying that when we fill out the form, which I don't know designation right now,
There's a lot of.
LA something.
Yeah.
When we fill out that form, it says, you calculate the total tax levy.
Right.
And that is all the receipts that the town takes in. Are we allowed by the DOR
To
to
exclude that,
include the
yes.
pilot money on that form? That's what I'm talking.
I believe you are. My main concern is, obviously, I really think the money should be used for something more than operational expenses, but my main concern is we're all taxpayers.
Not setting the future taxpayers up for failure. I get that. So if Rehoboth's doing it. Let's find out how they're doing it and how the DOR allowed them to either do that or not, or if included in receipts, but not in the levy.
I'm also
Right.
going to reach out to a couple of guys on my committee at MMA. Mike is in, let me think, Marlboro. And I'm trying to think of the guy from Mansfield, but I'm going to say to them, you got pilots, tell me something. How do you handle personal property taxes? Do you set it aside? Did you do it through a town meeting vote? And the rest of it we can get from the Board of Assessors, because selectmen might not know that answer, but certainly, main thing I want to know is, have you done it and how did you do it? And then we can get information from assessors, but.
So giving it some thought, I don't think it matters as far as the levy goes, because if you think about it, if you're taking the money that's coming in and you're putting it aside, even though you're including it in your levy, you're not spending it, or it's not in your budget. So even when that number starts to trail off, it's not going to matter because you're not counting on that money.
No, what
See
I'm
what I'm
saying
saying?
to you is right
Yeah, I
now,
do see what you're saying. I think we're all talking about the same thing. We're just kind of saying it different ways. So let's get more information on what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
then we can really talk about apples to apples, right?
Mhm.
So then we know what we're talking about.
and the reason I brought this up again, and have continued to bring it up, when I first brought it up, we didn't have money, tax money for personal property on pilots. We've got one on William Street, a pig farm, they're paying taxes. We've got the one on Elm Street, not DG Dayton, they got pilot. Can't think of it. We got that one. There is tax money coming in from solar farms.
On personal property.
Yes, now they don't have pilot agreements. They're just paying taxes.
Right.
My position is this bylaw should say any money that comes in from personal property taxes, with or without a pilot, should be earmarked or at least put in a special.
On solars,
account.
you're talking
Yeah,
about.
just
On
Solars,
solars, right.
only solars. Now, obviously,
But if they're paying regular personal property tax, why would you want to exclude that?
what do you mean exclude?
Why would you want to put that aside and not put it in the general fund?
Because it's going to be expended.
Right,
Yeah, but
but
that
he's
number's
saying
not
if the
gonna
personal
change.
property will always be there.
It'll always be there.
No, it won't.
Why not?
In 15 years, will they
No.
pull them
We
out?
don't have a pilot.
No. The life of a solar farm is basically 20 years.
So in 20 years, they pull that property off. And then
I own-
then you don't have
I own
tax
that.
dollars on it.
If I own that property and I'm generating electricity, I'm not just gonna, in 20 years, I'm not just gonna let it die. I'm gonna put new panels in. I'm gonna make it new.
Right, but you
just
can't
like any other
guarantee they
business.
will. That's the thing. You can't guarantee they
You can't
will.
guarantee any business is gonna stay in business.
But
That's correct.
The other thing is the energy business it has changed so rapidly. Who knows if, and by the way, that not pipeline, the high tension line, the court ordered that to be finished, the one that's bringing hydro power from Quebec down through, I think it's Western Maine. I mean, they were fighting that, they lost. The court has ordered, let them build a line. We don't know what the energy situation is going to be in 20 years. Solar may be, all right? Which means if this money is set aside, and the reason why we front end load them is because we know that solar farms get sold quickly. So one actually tried to put the big money at the end, and I said, no, we don't do it that way in Dayton, because they were planning to sell it. So ideal, hey, we got one for you for sale, the taxes are low, all right?
So yeah, so we're saying, if I think I hear you right, and we'll get more detail. Don't spend that money because we don't know how long it's gonna last. So don't put it in and spend it and demand that it be spent. Because if 15 years from now it's not there, that's a big burden going on to every taxpayer here and business, by the way.
If you put it into operation.
So let's see what Rehoboth does before
Yeah,
we
and I'll get the
keep
other. couple of
going,
other
chasing this
towns.
rabbit down the hole. Let's see what they do. Let's see what maybe other towns do, cities do, and then we'll act accordingly.
Let's talk again.
Yeah,
So for next meeting, and we'll probably have this for a few meetings, update on this kind of thing, because I think at the selectmen's meeting tonight, they're going to set the opening the warrant and the closing the warrant.
Correct.
So we got to get, if it's going to make the fall meeting, we got to get the language, but in any case, we'll.
Okay. Let's do that.
There's a few more people I can contact. And Stephanie, from your end, get in touch with our contact person at DOR. Just ask about anything that they're willing to give us. That'll help, because then we'll have both what's happening locally and what DOR is saying. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's tentatively set for October 30th. Yeah. Meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they're gonna decide that.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, any public input?
No, the
No.
public.
My 16-year-old daughter was going to attend with my niece, but they didn't, they're at the playground.
This is so
They're at the
exciting.
playground.
I'll go yell
They
at
got
them.
distracted. Get over here for some public input. All right, correspondence? None? Minutes?
I think I sent them to everyone.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah,
did.
Yeah. I've got a second.
Thanks, but
Oh, I'll have that.
I'm gonna sign it.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, it was short and sweet, so.
Hey, Bill, notice the time it was called to order and the time it adjourned.
Yeah, I know.
I think we made a little mention of
In
that.
other words, when I'm not here, you guys don't do anything.
No, we get through it quickly.
I think what we said was now we know what the holdup is.
That's funny.
You
Okay.
didn't have Nancy talking about solar farms.
I know.
Right. Oh, see, there was no solar on the agenda. That's why, or else it would have gone twice as long.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Since I wasn't here, I'm not gonna. Stay.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of July 19th as presented.
Okay, I stepped down a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Just for the record, even though you weren't here, under the law, you can't approve minutes.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Why would I approve minutes in a meeting I didn't attend?
off camera.
In case you watched it.
I did watch it.
Oh,
So you heard us say.
he was,
No, I
he had his,
did.
he had his fuzzy slippers on and a cup of coffee. He's watching.
And
I
then,
watch every meeting.
All right, any unanticipated items?
Motion to adjourn?
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I knew that, Bill.
9:59.
He was there and he coughed and said, I heard
Yeah.
that.
So, fence viewer question before I forget. Lisa